One of the things that I wanted to ask you, John, because obviously you have more experience than most people of running a LinkedIn group, in particular running a group that actually has lots of engagement and is vibrant rather than a desert of a group, as a lot of them are on LinkedIn. What are some things you would draw people's attention to in terms of what it takes to run a successful group, and what are some of the pitfalls that you would highlight?
Well, the biggest issues I've seen with LinkedIn groups over the years is that they're either ghost towns or they're spam fests. So it's one or the other, one extreme or the other. So if you want a successful group, then to avoid that, you need a clear purpose. So you need to set out up front who's in charge of this thing and what are we trying to achieve. And so I try and reinforce the four main goals of Espresso Plus all the time if I can. And then you need to give people a safe space where they feel that they can contribute via comments in the first instance, ultimately via posts. So as the leader of a group, you should be visible, you should set the agenda for the kind of topics you want to talk about, and you want to encourage every little green shoot of progress that you get from people. If they leave a reaction, if they leave any small comment, you just encourage them to get more and more involved. And what I've seen over the last year of running the group is that the people who invest most time and effort in saying stuff within the safety of a small group, they tend to be the ones who would then take action to help their business. So, by cheerleading those people on, they get results, and then other people feel inspired to come on board and say, well, look, if that person has gone from zero to hero, then why can't I do it too? It's a lot of effort. So to come up with those ideas and to be responsive so that people aren't left waiting for ages. And then to, do things like reminding people about, the set piece stuff that's going on within a community. So you can recommend certain posts, and you can remind people to turn on the bell for notifications in groups. These things are not enabled by default. So you have to go and turn those on and tell people about them. So it is a lot of work, but it, as has been demonstrated, it definitely can work. And I think people they feel safer and more emboldened in a group with just over 200 people versus 900 plus million people in public, which feels scary. There are some people who would never do a video in public but might actually do one within the group. So it's great, and the more you can foster that, the better. And also a zero tolerance policy for anyone who breaks your rules. So you've got to have some ground rules. Be really clear. No spammy advertising. No hitting up loads of people in the DMs just because you're in the same group and stuff like that, and not to tolerate anyone who breaks those rules. And it's worked out pretty well so far.
It's really interesting because my previous business, we had a very active forum, and that was a huge source of traffic for it was a job board. But it actually is very similar in terms of, to get it up and running, it's the site owner that initially fosters the conversation and the growth, and then you reach the point where you've got enough active members that it's less and less you doing the commenting and the interacting, and it's more and more actually the members that are sustaining things.
That's one of the signs of a good community, is when the members actually start making connections with each other and taking on some responsibility. So we've only been going for just over a year, so we're probably not quite at that stage yet, but it's definitely moving in that direction. But I want to make sure that I'm as responsive as I can be, and that's the reason I've limited the size of the community. So we're never going to grow beyond 300 members, because one of the frustrations I've had with other communities I've been in is that you're attracted by a so-called celebrity, let's say, but they're not actually there day to day running the show. You're palmed off to some assistant or something, and it doesn't have the same vibe that you were expecting. So give people, fulfill the promise that you give people, and that means you've got to show up. So yes, it's a lot of work, but as I say, it's working out.
Good. Starting to get first questions come through. Just to wrap that one up, in terms of time commitment to make a group successful, what is a realistic amount that you would say people would need to be able to devote to get it up and running?
Honestly, it's often several hours a day for me, but then this is my main business, to be honest. So I'm not doing anything else. But I would say, you probably want to give over at least an hour a day to the setup, the running, the checking in with people, the coming up with ideas, the moderating comments, adding more comments, DMing people. It's a lot of work.
Yes, yeah. Comes back to that old thing that social media isn't really free, even though we can do a lot without paying. It's the time that it takes.